Unfortunately, many of these ancient celebrations have been forgotten, but we too can find meaning in the cycles of the earth. We too can take solace in the fact that life returns after death, that hope returns after sadness. The darkness might be deep and long, the cold truly life-threatening. To those of us today who look around and see the atrocities in our world, the war in Libya, the unrest in Egypt, the battles in Somalia, the nuclear crisis, and continuing earthquakes in Japan, it is hard to have faith. It's easy to believe that this winter will never end. My God, why have you forsaken me? In all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. No help will come to save us from ourselves, but if we allow the earth to teach us, if we look to the seasons for guidance, if we look to our important stories, we can also remember to find and make meaning in this sadness. We live our lives by meaning. We paint for ourselves our futures. We constantly hold it out in front of us as we live into it. But the future story is delicate. It's like glass. Sometimes that future story shatters. And then we stand there and we look at the jagged pieces of what we had so carefully created, and we wonder where God is. Of this I am sure. God is not the glass smasher. God is not the glass smasher. God is the love of community. God is the love of those people in our lives waiting to help us put our stories back together in ways that we never could have expected. God is the light, still there, waiting to shine again through the glass that you reconstruct in a new and beautiful way. For the earth, the winter is followed by spring. The rains come, the birds and the insects do their work. Things work in concert, in community, to bring about the spring. For Jesus, in his time of despair, he taught his disciples at their last meal to be servants of those in need, to humble themselves rather than exalt themselves, to wash the feet of the poor. And while he breathed his last breath on the cross, he called out to his mother and to his disciple to be sure that they would care for one another in his absence. Where were you when the world was created? I was here. We are here. According to an ethicist, Dr. Sharon Welch, she says, God is the power of our relationships. God is not in the power of our relationships. God is the power of our relationships. And as such, the world is being continued, created, and recreated. The evil, the chaos that goes hand in hand with creation is not the final word, because the earth tends toward continued life, toward rebirth, and the human heart tends toward love, toward community if we will let it. This week, as you remember the last week of the life of Jesus, as you marvel at the swelling buds on the trees, the occasional patches of green on the ground, the chirping sound of a bird in the sky, remember the despair of winter and have faith in the hope of spring. Earth, teach us to be patient. Teach us to be hopeful. Teach us to be kind to one another and to life on this planet. Teach us to help one another in times of dark and despair, and to celebrate with one another in times of light and life. Help us to rebuild our stories with the help of community and to recognize our fragile existence and to preserve and cherish each other and this pale blue dot. May it be so. Now if you rise and rise. Gloria.
The tenacity of earth and its creatures.
Kyrie eleison.
To those children who will go on to save what we cannot.
Baruch atah Adonai.
The ordinary tenacity of plants and people. The center of the universe, which is everywhere, not the least place in the human heart.
Alleluia.
Love that survives anger and winter and despair and sorrow and even death.
Shalom.
Love that persists.
Nam Yoho Renge Kyo.
Calm that is the seed in the dark.
Amen.
For endings that are beginnings, for beginnings that are endings.
Alleluia.
For the circle, the spiral, the web, the egg, the orbit, the center, the seed, the flower, the fruit, the opening, the death, the release, the seed.
Amen.
We are going on.
Amen.
It is going on.
Amen.
Blessed be.
Go in peace, go in love to a hurting world. Go and come again knowing that this place waits to embrace you upon your return.